What's happening, everybody? I just couldn't help. I had to do another music episode today. I saw a video on YouTube about Led Zeppelin and about all the stuff that they stole from people and things that they use. And I see a lot of comments from people on those videos talking all kind of shit about them and whatever. I don't know. It's funny to me because I think a lot of those people, a lot of the people on there commenting, not everybody. I'm sure somebody knows some Zeppelin music, but I get this feeling that a lot of people that are on there probably don't know shit about Zeppelin, but they hear the story or they read it somewhere or they randomly see this video and they got an opinion on it. You know, they don't know shit about Zeppelin. They damn sure don't know shit about the blues or any of the shit where it's taken from. So it just amuses me about how many people have this, like, on these videos that I've seen, there's like this outcry of sympathy for all these people that they don't even fucking know. You know, like Willie Dixon and Howlin' Wolf and Otis Rush and Muddy Waters and a bunch of other people that they don't even know who these people are. I guarantee you they couldn't name one fucking song. Now, that's not everybody, I'm saying, but a lot of the people that are talking shit on there probably have no idea. Like, quite a few of the Zeppelin songs, I already knew where they came from before I had ever heard anything about plagiarism or stealing their music or what have you. And I don't know. As far as Zeppelin goes, I loved Led Zeppelin. I had a point when I finally discovered Led Zeppelin about 2-3 years after high school. I went about a year straight and listened to nothing but Zeppelin. I know just about every song they've ever done. Their albums, I've heard just about every song they've ever done. There's still a couple that I haven't really listened to from the later albums, like Presence and Into the Outdoor, that I hadn't really looked into because their style started to change a little too much for me. But if you're a Zeppelin fan, the song Royal Orleans is a fantastic song. I find that I met one person so far that's heard that song, and I'm sure there's others out there. But if you haven't heard that song and you're a fan of Zeppelin, that's a badass song. It was on... Shit, what album? Oh, yeah, Presence. I'm sorry. I believe it was on the Presence album. But, it just brought up the whole subject to me about sampling. And I'll just call it sample, whatever it is. Or sampling or covering songs. And people don't realize that the fucking music industry, through sampling and covering, that the music industry has become what it is. Unfortunately, it's become what it is. But a lot of good things came out of that. The entire hip-hop genre, if it was... All right, let me go back a little bit further. James Brown does not get nearly enough credit for what he did for the world of music. Now, hold on. My contacts are driving me fucking nuts. Damn it, like all out, too. Ooh. So anyways, James Brown, they call him... Oh, I just blew air in my eye. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. I've been getting up at like 4 in the morning during the week, and by the end of the day, my contacts just drive me nuts. They get all fucking dry and just want to like close my eyes for about 20 minutes, and I know if I do, I'm going to pass out. So, James Brown, they call him the Godfather of Soul. And that's really, he's got all their names, like the hardest working man in show business, Soul Brother #1, Mr. Dynamite, Mr. Please, Please, Please. He's got all kind of nicknames, but the Godfather of Soul would make you think that James Brown was just really into soul music. And he started out with soul music. But after a while, he got tired of the same old shit. And he started experimenting with the way that they construct songs, and he started changing things up, and over time, like late 60s, maybe 67 or so, about there is where it kind of started to change to funk music, and it took a few years to really get there, and then through the 70s, it just, he really got into it, but he created funk music. There was no such thing before James Brown, and he created funk music, and when he had his band, the JBs, they had some people early on and some people later on. There might have been one that stuck with him all the way through. It's been a while since I brushed up on my JB's history, but his band, that band, just all the different times when they were together, like maybe late 60s to mid 70s, somewhere in there, give or take a year or so. But that was the heyday, in my opinion, of the funk from James Brown. Now, he had some good stuff later on, late 70s, but it was kind of turned into like a disco-y type mix with funk. And then I honestly say, I really think that James Brown had some of the first hip-hop songs there were. Like, you look at like Funky President and Get Up Off That Thing, and a few of those, like, they're heading in that direction. And there's some more songs from his late 70s. And at the moment, I don't remember those tracks right now, but they sound very early hip hop, And then you had people like Grandmaster Flash and others coming afterwards, and Sugar Hill Gang, and of course all the other funk artists. There was Sly Stone and George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. Now I never really understood. I know that they either record under the name Parliament or the name Funkadelic, and it seems like I had this figured out before. It's like Parliament is more like soul funk, and Funkadelic seems to be more like rock funk. It's not always the case, but and they have just a slightly different sound between the two. And a lot of James Brown's band members from the JBs came to George Clinton, and they had a major impact on him. So George Clinton couldn't have been, because there would have been no funk music if it wasn't for James Brown. If there was no James Brown, I mean, all early hip-hop, and like even like the G-Funk, the gangster rap stuff with Tupac, and the East Coast, West Coast, and especially the West, though. I mean, the East too, but like Dr. Dre. Like, I really think, I'm guessing from the NWA movie where he's sitting there with all his records and he's listening to his old songs, that he probably comes up with a lot of beats for people. And that whole era couldn't have been without James Brown creating funk, because all that early hip-hop, I mean, some of it sampled soul music, but a lot of it was sampling funk music. Like Das Effects song called They Want Effects, that basically takes an instrumental song from James Brown called Blind Man Can See It off the Black Caesar soundtrack. And that's a very good album too, by the way. I think I have that one on vinyl. I'm pretty sure I do. I think I got it on CD too, but that's a really good one. And they took the beat and they added their some lyrics to it, and it's a pretty good song. I like that one a lot from them. EPMD sampled a lot, and Das Effects, and I mean Chubb Rock, and Big Daddy Kane. And like Big Daddy Kane even was sampling this song Another Victory. He was sampling a song called Melting Pot from Booker T and the MGs. And Booker T and the MGs were a house band for, and this, I always get this fucked up too. I'll try to correct it later, but like Stax, I don't know, I can never remember if that was Booker T and the MGs or if it was, I know the Meters were a house band for somebody too. I think it was Booker T and the MGs. But the Bar-Kays were a house band for somebody. And so they would record playing the other instruments with different artists that were signed under that label. So a lot of the albums that came from Stax Records would sound similar in style, because it would be a lot of times be the same band. And I'm pretty sure that one was Booker T and the MGs. I'm almost positive that was Stax band. But they they backed people up, but they also had their own solo stuff, and they're very good. But most people probably never heard of Melting Pot from Booker T and the MGs, and I remember I discovered that song about 12 years ago, and I think I had a shortened version of it at first, but there's like a 7 or 8 minute version, but it's a very good song. So without James Brown, none of this shit could have really happened. I mean, and like Ice Cube and NWA, Dr. Dre, and all them, they heavily sampled George Clinton as well. Like pretty much the entire Chronic album from Dr. Dre, the original one, is a lot of the music from that is from George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic era. Snoop Dogg, the song Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Dogg, that's a cover, or that's sampling Atomic Dog from George Clinton. God, there's just so many of them. Gangstar also, use a lot of samples. So I don't know why everybody's bent out of shape about Zeppelin. I don't know. Maybe these other people paid royalties and Zeppelin didn't, and I don't really look into it that much, because I don't care about it that much, because the more that I find that Led Zeppelin took from old blues artists and people like that, the more I love them. I already fucking loved them. I mean, to me, they're the epitome of a rock and roll band, and I already loved them. But finding out that, and I knew they had blues roots, but finding out how deep their roots went into the blues, like, dude, that's fucking awesome. They took music that most people would have never fucking heard. I don't know if Muddy Waters and Willie Dixon, if they wrote You Shook Me, but I know Zeppelin did that song. It was somebody's. I know Muddy Waters has a version of it. I just don't know if it was his song, but blues song there. I Can't Quit You Baby, Otis Rush song. Where's some of the other ones? The Lemon song. Sorry, my fucking throat's all fucked up today. The Lemon song. It's funny, in all these videos, no one has ever fucking mentioned the Lemon song off of Zeppelin 2. And it's just clear as can be that they took from The Killing Floor, which I think is a Howlin' Wolf song. Some of these old, it's like, I know it is a Howlin' Wolf song, but there could be somebody from fucking like the 20s that did it too that I might not know about, but that's, I mean, that shit happens. You know, these old blues guys were taking shit from people too. And there's been some fantastic music that has been made from sampling and covering. So I don't know why everybody's all pissy about Zeppelin, because it's like people bitch and moan about it on YouTube like they lost money themselves because of Zeppelin. Like, fuck off, dude. What do you care if somebody else didn't get the money? It's good fucking music, man. I'm sorry, but it is. It's fantastic music. I mean, dude, I don't know how anybody could not like Led Zeppelin. And honestly, at one point, I didn't like them. I mean, all I really knew and heard was Stairway to Heaven, and I was like, I still don't really care for that song. But finally, one day, I just started looking through their shit, and I was just fucking blown away, dude. They are fantastic. And just, man, what a great band. And I want to say, for all the credit that John Bonham gets for being a fantastic drummer, no one ever talks about the song Rock and Roll. It's one of those songs that actually gets radio play, but it's always been one of my favorite Zeppelin songs. And dude, Bonham is fucking wailing in that song. I mean, dude, my arms would fall off about 30 seconds into it, but he's just, listen to it and listen to the drum tracks on it. That dude is just kicking ass on that drum, and I mean fast. Shit, I'm trying to think of some of the crazy ones, like Nothing But a G Thing from Dr. Dre, that sampled Leon Haywood, song called I Want to Do Something Freaky to You. The Biggie song, Juicy, sampled a song from Mtume called Juicy Fruit, and it's fucking clear as day they sampled it for all the music pretty much. Trying to think of who all. Oh, here's a good one for you. And Eminem, I think, I don't know, did Dr. Dre like kind of discover him or bring him out and like help him get a record? I don't know. I know that I think that they knew each other, and he was on his album in the beginning. But one day I threw on Curtis Mayfield radio on Pandora, and I got in the shower, and when I was turning the shower off and drying off, I could hear the bass. Just the bass is all I could hear from my stereo. It was pretty loud, and I could hear the bass clear as fuck. And I hadn't listened. I remember when Eminem first came out, and I think I had his first album, listened to it, and this is not for me. But I remember thinking, I'm like, what the fuck is that one song, Hi, My Name Is, from Eminem? I'm hearing the bass, I'm like, why the fuck is Eminem on Curtis Mayfield radio? So I go out there, and I'm like, I look at my phone. There's this guy named Labi Siffre, Labi, first name. Last name is Siffre. And he has a song called I Got The. That's the song's called I Got The. And when you start the song, about the first 2 minutes, sounds nothing like the Eminem song. And at some point during the song, it just cuts off. And then it goes, da-dum, da-dum, and it starts out with that bass. And I was like, holy shit. That is a really, really obscure track that most people probably never run into. Tupac's California Love. Now, they're sampling lyrics from Ronnie Hudson and the Street People, a song called West Coast Pop Lock. So, the California knows how to party. That shit they took, and some other lyrics from it. Which, that song itself, the Ronnie Hudson song, samples the Zapp and Rogers song from their lyrics, from the song So Rough, So Tough. Like, you got a song that was sampled by a group, and that song was sampled by a group, but they didn't take from Ronnie Hudson what he took from Zapp and Rogers. It's just, I thought that was interesting. It's not often that I have found things like that. I'm sure they exist, but I haven't found a bunch of examples like that. But the lyrics they got from Ronnie Hudson, and then the beat to it was from Joe Cocker. Joe Cocker's song called Woman to Woman. And I remember that was one of the first songs when I was younger that I realized I'm like, wow, that's where that beat came from. And my dad had the greatest hits, and I was just skimming through it and listening, and I heard that song come on. I was like, no shit. It blew my mind. But for a long time, I didn't really look that deep into it after that. Jack, come here. Come on, get over here. I didn't look that deep into it after that for a long time, like in a sampling and whatnot. But over time, I've discovered that there's just so much shit that has been used and reused and reused. The song Funky Drummer from James Brown, the drum beat was Clyde Stubblefield. And in the VH1 documentary, Finding the Funk, Clyde said that... Sorry, I've been doing good on the cigarettes. I'm only at 21 so far today, but I fucking can't talk with the shit because I'm always yelling and I'm always talking and being loud and obnoxious. So by the end of the day, I might fucking lose my voice. Now, what was I just talking about? Another song. Oh, Clyde Stubblefield in that documentary they interviewed him. He said that if it wasn't for having someone like James Brown as his band leader, that he may have never had the freedom to come up with that beat. And that beat has been sampled thousands of times. I mean, that shit's in everything from country music, alternative music, hip hop, rap, fucking anything you can think of. That beat has been there. And it's weird because growing up as a kid, I remember like if I'd see a little bongo drum or something, the only beat that I really knew was, there's this beat where it's like, it's a shitty representation, but like that beat was always in my head, even as a young kid, and I had no idea where it was from. I just thought it was just some standard beat that everybody knew, and apparently it is because it's been sampled thousands of times. But when I got older and I discovered the song Funky Drummer, that fucked me up, dude, because for 20 years or more, I always knew that beat and had no idea where it had come from. And I didn't even know what song that I had heard it in. I just always knew that beat, all the time. And I found out it was Funky Drummer. That was just crazy to me. It blew my mind. So, that's fucking everywhere, especially in hip-hop and rap. It is all over the place. And it could actually fit with a lot of songs that it has not been paired with. But it could go really good with a lot of songs. What was the one? Oh, Sublime. They have a song called Scarlet Begonias. Now, a lot of the lyrics from their song Scarlet Begonias is from a Grateful Dead song called Scarlet Begonias. So they were, influenced by the Grateful Dead. And the beat was Funky Drummer. The drum beat in the beginning of that. Jackie! Hey! Fucking with the cat. He's trying to humble him. Jack, come on. So if you just look up Scarlet Begonias by Sublime, as soon as it starts, the drum beat you hear right in the beginning, that's Funky Drummer. And I mean, I know I can't think of more examples. I know tons of other shit that it's in, but I can't think of it right now. The JBs also. Yeah, I didn't know this for a long time, that James Brown's band, the JBs, he also produced solo records for them where he's not really on a lot of it. He might be on a couple tracks, but he's not on it like on his own albums. Like, they just do their own shit. They have people singing too. And they have several albums out, actually, and they're really fucking good. And that stuff has been sampled a lot as well. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. There's just there's so much shit to talk about that it would take. I could go on about this forever if I sat down and just refresh myself on some of the details. It's just fucking everywhere. I'm trying to think of some more good examples. But I don't know, Zeppelin's just they're cool as shit. They're fantastic. They're just an amazing band, and it doesn't, to me, it don't take nothing away. In fact, it adds to it to me. That, like, to see how deep their roots really run. I mean, there's some cats that I haven't even fucking heard of, and I know a lot of blues, and there's some people I've never heard of. It's like, wow, man, that's crazy. Beastie Boys and everybody's taking something from somebody, and it's like, it's at the point now where I don't know if there's anything left that hasn't been done. There's one. I can't stand this fucking guy, even though I love pit bulls. But the fucking the dude Pitbull, the singer fucking guy, he that song "Don't Stop the Party" is just strongly samples a song from the Toots and the Maytals called "Funky Kingston." And if you listen to that song and then listen to his song, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, a lot of it. And it's like people are hearing the little drum beat and a lot of it, and it's sped up a little bit, the beat to it. But it's just crazy, like, people, like, out dancing this shit at clubs and what. I have no fucking idea where it came from. The first time I heard it, I'm like, oh shit, that's Funky Kingston. No kidding. And it bothers me a lot, especially trying to, like, discuss, or not so much discuss, but arguing music with people, that I'm not knocking nobody's music. If you want to like stuff that's newer, you're free to do whatever you like. I try to just like classic shit. I love stuff from the past, and some of the stuff from today, maybe 20 years from now, I'll love it, but I'm not counting on it. But it's like when you try to argue music with somebody and all they know is, like, say, you know, I talk to somebody that's, I'm not bashing younger people, because it's just they haven't had the experience. I mean, I didn't know the shit until I started learning old music right after I turned 19. That's when I started learning old music. So I didn't know it forever either, and it took, I mean, I've been studying this shit for 20 years, so, I mean, there's still plenty I'm discovering that I never knew nothing about, you know. And the more I learn, the more I realize there's a whole fucking another dimension of music out there I haven't even come across yet. There's so many people and so many songs and so many albums that I still have yet to discover, that I don't have time for new shit, because I know that stuff's good. New shit, I can fucking do without it. But when you're arguing music with anybody, I mean, anybody, they could be my age, they could be 38, and say they just love what the newest trend is, like, oh, I found this album, I got a copy 6 months before it got released. Like, I remember back when I had my first apartment. I got my own place when I was 20 years old, which is fucking awesome. I had just an unbelievable time there. But somebody brought the 50 Cent album. This is like his first one. I don't even know, it was a while before that thing ever got released. And, you know, it was like the cool thing. And, like, everyone's like, ah, cool, you know, it's something new and nobody knows about it. But it's like, even less people know about the JBs or James Brown or Fela Kuti or fucking Jimmy McGriff. A lot. Jackie, dude. Hey, she's getting after him. She likes the little fat one the best. So, Jackie! Hey! Stop! Quit. Damn it, she made me lose her train of thought. But, all this old music, like, that's what I find cool about it, is that nobody fucking knows it. I mean, there are people that know it, but I don't meet people that have a fucking clue who probably any of my top 5 favorite musicians are. In my 6 and 7, like, Hendrix and Clapton, people know those names. But some people might know B.B. King. Some might know James Brown. Curtis Mayfield, probably not. Jimmy McGriff, absolutely not. And Fela Kuti, there's no fucking way anybody, I don't know how to say his fucking last name. Either Fela Kuti or Fela Kuti. So I'll go with Fela Kuti, because I think that's what I heard before in a documentary. So, nobody, I've never met a fucking human being in person that has ever even heard of the guy. I had a little conversation in the comment section on something on here. I talked to somebody, and they're like, they were saying that certain people I was talking about were good, and they mentioned Fela, but I don't know if they really know him. But I have yet to meet anybody who even knows that guy is. And his music is fucking amazing. It is some of the most that is an artist. That's an artist. That dude is a fucking genius artist. So when I see people like Kanye West like, he's not a prolific artist. He's a prolific fucking shitty music maker. He's fucking really prolific at making shit music, in my opinion. Stealing from fucking Ray Charles. And that's something I want to talk about, because there's another sample. That fucking Gold Digger song. Now, he sampled a line from the song called I Got a Woman from Ray Charles, which I fucking love that song. I've loved it for a long time. So, when I first heard Kanye West's song, I was immediately pissed. And I didn't really was for or against him before that, but from then on I said, fuck him, dude. I don't even want to hear his shit. And what I never understood, and that I've never found anybody that has an answer for this, but the song's called Gold Digger, which is about a woman that's using a guy for his money. Yet, the line... Stop it! The line that he took from the song was, she gives me money when I'm in need. Now, how the fuck is that a gold digger? That's literally the complete opposite of what you're saying about you steal a line, throw it in there, and I don't know if he realized it himself, because you think somebody along the line would have been like, yo, bro, this doesn't even make fucking sense. What are you doing? Maybe he was just like, watch, I know it doesn't make sense. It's fucking stupid. It's completely contradictory, and people are gonna buy it by the fucking millions. And they did. And I've never met one person that's ever even thought about that. Like, let alone know where the fuck it came from. When the movie Ray came out, because that came out not too long after that, people were like, oh yeah, Ray Charles, but they weren't thinking Ray Charles, they were thinking Jamie Foxx playing Ray Charles. Nobody fucking knows Ray Charles. I know a lot of Ray Charles, and that shit's good music. Him and Milt Jackson did an album together. That's tight. Milt Jackson is a jazz cat, but he plays the xylophone, and I fucking love the xylophone in jazz music. He's got an album with Coltrane, he's got an album with Miles Davis, he's got one with Ray Charles, he's got an album with a lot of people, and it's really, really good shit. It's really good. But when you hear that Ray Charles, Milt Jackson album, it does not sound like Ray Charles music at all. There might be one song where they covered one of his songs, I think, where you can hear it, but it's jazz. It's jazz music. He plays the piano, and Milt's playing the xylophone, the vibraphone, or whatever the fuck people call it. I don't know what's the in thing, but some good shit. Milt Jackson is a bad dude. I've listened to his solo stuff too. It's very good. Charlie Parker, phenomenal jazz musician. And without jazz and blues, there would have been funk. So that's the thing, is like, now if people like modern day rap music, like, you have to realize that if it wasn't for James Brown, hip hop, gangster rap, and whatever they call it now would have never happened. And if it wasn't for blues and jazz, some soul music too, like, that's where funk emerged from. It was like blues, jazz, and soul music kind of fused together in a new way, and that would have never happened without those other things. And without, like, blues and jazz, the soul music scene might have never really took off, I think soul music was an offshoot of that, maybe a blues. Jackie! Hey, would you please stop? I'm running out of time. All right, Jackie, leave him alone. So, I don't know that for a fact, but I do believe that soul music came out of the blues, and blues music came from slave music. And they have people like the McIntosh County Shouters, and they record some of these old slave songs, and they do it like where they're just like they were there, They're stomping on the wooden floor, and they're clapping their hands, and they're chanting, and they're just like, it's fucking awesome. And from all this, these people that like new rap music but don't know the history, like, oh, fuck Tupac, that dude ain't shit. Dude, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't have to like the guy, but the dude was a fucking crazy motherfucker, and he's about the only celebrity that I know, like, that, like, he lived the life that he sung about. A lot of people, a lot of rappers don't really, they didn't grow up in fucking crazy situations, and they have middle-class families, and fucking just, start changing their image, like CB4, the movie CB4. Like, there's a lot of people like that, come from a good home, and, the middle-class family, and they just happen to, change their image and jump on the scene. But that dude was legit, and I've always loved Tupac. I would pick Tupac over Biggie any day of the fucking week. Now, I don't dislike Biggie, but I like a lot more Tupac stuff than I do from Biggie. And just the samples galore. Alright, I'm down a few minutes here. I don't have time to do another part to this one, so I have to just finish up or continue later. But without all of that, and all of it happening exactly the way that it did, and all of it coming together, and, you know, it just couldn't have happened. And without sampling, none of the shit that's out there today could even be possible if it wasn't for that. I've always been a big history person, and I fucking can't stand people that, like, I don't know a lot about history. Like, last 100 years, I mean, I know a pretty damn good amount, but I'm not a historian by any means. I minored in history in college, but I love history. I love to know where our country has come from, what we've been through to get to where we're at. The music that you listen to. Know the fucking roots, especially if you're going to argue it. If you're going to argue with somebody who knows about older music and you don't know shit about it, just stop, because you don't know what you're talking about. You can think all you want that you are just a fucking genius about new music. But if you don't even know the shit that they're sampling and things that are being used and taken from other people, and you don't know a fucking thing about James Brown or Parliament Funkadelic or old blues, then you don't know the whole story. That's all it is. It's not that people are stupid, they're just ignorant to the rest of the story. They don't know about it. And there's a whole fucking, like, just decades and decades of fucking music that came before what's out there now. So that's what pisses me off when I argue with somebody that's only into new music, you know. And it's like, dude, you can't even hold a fucking argument with me, because I know just fucking hundreds of times more about music than somebody like that does. And there's not a lot in the world that I know a lot about, but old film and old fucking music, I fucking love them. I've been studying them for a long, long time. And it's not like, you know, I have to take a class on it, so for one semester I got to dig into some. No, I mean, it's something I passionately enjoy. And I have went to great lengths to learn as much about it as fucking possible. So that's one thing I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to music. I have a lot of theories and a lot of things, and how MTV ruined music and television. I'll get into that one day, but about to cut off. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed. I gotta fucking get up at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So all y'all, have a good night. Thanks for watching, and y'all be safe, and peace out, folks.